How to explore the subtle sphere. Good morning, this is Chris from Wake Up with another video about the subtle sphere. There were some questions and discussions about the subtle sphere, and one of you asked how to explore the subtle sphere. I mentioned in my last video, have fun exploring the subtle sphere, and someone asked, okay, but how? After waking up, people usually choose two routes. One is to withdraw. You go and meditate in the mountains or the forest or buy a hut in Finland or Canada or something and spend a lot of time by yourself. And that is because it helps you to explore the subtle sphere. Things start to change, and it's easier if you just let them change. If you just let the transformation happen, and that's easier in nature and it's easier by yourself for most people. And in the usual context where most people live, family, work, city, and this whole buzz, this whole hectic, it's usually more difficult. You keep being distracted and annoyed and stressed and so on. Yeah? And you can even fall out of it again. It's hard to, it depends on your job, of course, but usually it's hard to focus. The subtle sphere is not called subtle sphere for no reason. These things, these new things you perceive, they are subtle. And they're very subtle at first, like gossamer thread, almost not visible, almost not perceivable. And you need some time to focus on it. And distraction and stress are not very helpful. On the other hand, for some people, it's helpful to discuss things. They develop their new self, is that the right word? Their new being in discussion with others. They almost need others to exchange and to say, okay, I experienced this, how do you see it? Or they just feel the strange need to talk about it or to write books about it or so on. Some people just write one book and that's it. That's all they needed. Some people don't stop. It's all part of their process. And the whole process is, no matter if you are the more social type or the more individual type, the whole process is about developing this new thing, to orient yourself in this new world. And this new world is not that everything looks completely different, but that you start to develop these new senses. You're perceiving the same things than before, but in a different way or from a different perspective. It's like there was a famous German philosopher called Humboldt. He said, you have to walk around the whole mountain and walk up the whole mountain to describe it. If you only see only one side from the bottom, then you cannot describe the whole mountain. Or just take a ball in your hands and you will see that you can only see one part of the ball, of the sphere. You have to turn the ball to see the whole thing, but it's still from the outside. You can't see the inside. And in the subtle sphere, you're suddenly in the inside. And you see the ball from all sides at the same time. And that can be quite confusing in the beginning, but you just have to let it happen. It's not that you have to learn something. Nothing has to be learned. but you have to get used to it. That's what I meant with fun. Have fun exploring the subtle sphere. And it was also half a joke, because you can have a lot of fun exploring the subtle sphere and get stuck. When I say get stuck or get lost, doesn't mean really that you get stuck or lost in a physical sense. It just means it's a new form of distraction. Just don't take things seriously, no matter if they are gross or subtle. It's all just distraction. It's all just fluff. Even love. That's the last part. The strong universal love that most people associate with being enlightened. It's not enlightenment. It's also part of the subtle sphere. A very, very nice distraction and trap. To all religious awakened people will not agree with me, but that is because they're not enlightened. In enlightenment, there's not much space for emotions. Even higher emotions such as love. There is some sort of love left, but it's more this thing of that good or bad is gone. There's no duality, there's no negativity. And if there's no negativity, all kind of seems hunky-dory. But it's more kind of neutrality. Everything is okay. And everything is sort of amusing. Yeah, you watch the play unfolding and it's kind of amusing. Like Jed McKenna, he once said that he's kind of waiting that all philosophy departments in universities will be closed down, and instead all the money will be pumped into researching artificial intelligence. And then at some point we will invent artificial intelligence, and this artificial intelligence will decide that we're destroying the planet, that we're mostly dangerous, like in the movie The Matrix, and will start destroying us. And he's waiting to watch the show. That's very funny. It's a bit of a dark humor, but it's very funny. Another funny thing is another of Jed's Plato's cave metaphors is, what if we already zombies, and part of the sickness, the condition of being a zombie, of being kind of brain dead, is that we're imagining that life is going on as it always was, that we are not zombies. We're running around being zombies and eating dead flesh, but we're imagining that we're going to work and have a family and children and buy food in the supermarket and cook it at home and so on. How would we know? Yeah, this is very interesting. All zombie movies start with a strange sickness, and then there's a vaccination or some medicine, and then it goes wrong and everyone turns into zombies, or most people. And then some people try to survive, like in the famous series The Walking Dead. So this will be very interesting soon, now that there is a plague and there will be a mass vaccination. Let's see. But maybe we are zombies already. In the gross sphere, you cannot know anything. You can only rely on your 5 senses, and it is very clear that these 5 senses can be duped anytime. You cannot rely on anything that you see or hear, and you cannot rely on your thinking either. Thinking is overrated. Much, much overrated. When you watch children playing, they often play adults, but they're not adults. They just play adults for half an hour or 1 or 2 hours. And if you spend more time in the subtle sphere, then all the people who are sleeping in the crossphere, they seem to you like children playing adults. The human beings playing awake, but they're not. They're deep sleep. So to explore the subtle sphere, to explore the next kind of reality that there is to perceive and to explore, is just following the flow, follow your intuition, follow your new senses that develop. And if you don't have anyone to talk to, then don't. Or look for someone who you can talk to. Because otherwise people will persuade you that you're imagining all of this, and you will fall back into the mass illusion, to the mass hysteria. Just trust what is going on. And at the same time, don't believe anything. Belief doesn't get you anywhere. Verify it. See what it's really like. Don't believe anything you hear or read. And if you feel any kind of Marvel superpowers developing, just watch them. Watch them happening and watch them developing. Let them develop by themselves. Don't do anything actively. Don't do anything for them or against them. Yeah? Don't resist, but also don't identify with them. Don't be arrogant or vain about them. You're not better because you can see new things or do new things. It's just part of the path, part of your path. And only because someone is able to do something doesn't mean it's the same for you. You can develop different kind of abilities. And it's not that you develop them on purpose. Just let them happen. Just don't stand in their way. That's all. That's how you explore the subtle sphere. Okay, that's it for today. Ask more questions. As you can see, this can lead to interesting discussions. Okay. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me on Facebook or Patreon. Thanks for sharing the videos with your friends, and see you soon. There will be a video about once a week.